Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. There's been some error in the recording, so this might be a cooked video, but it's okay. These are random, improbable, not impossible matchups I want to see in 2025. A fantasy matchups video could be made. That'd be including everything. This is UFC only, and in 2025 it has to be somewhat relevant. Somewhat, it's possible, not improbable. Heavyweight, I have Tai Tuivasa against Justin Tafa. I mean, it's pretty interesting. They're both solid strikers, put on entertaining scraps. They're kind of similar blobby-ish guys, but that's how it goes. Great prelim option, I think. This could be, I don't think it's a main card fight. This would be a great prelim option. Good little scrap on their prelims. Get some people, get some views on the Instagram, get some people tuning in, get some ESPN Plus visitors, you know how it goes. If there is any ESPN Plus visitors at this point. This is a good test for both of them. I think it will show that maybe Tafa does have potential. Maybe not just a can crusher. This is assuming Tafa gets on a win streak against some cans, because given Waldo Cortez Acosta can get ranked off two guys who aren't even in the UFC anymore, anything's possible in heavyweight right now. It would also show how far potentially Tai Tuivasa has fallen as a fighter, so it'd be very interesting to see. If Tai gets the win, it could be a good win to just kind of ride something high for a little bit. We go back on another losing streak, and then the same, the scene from the interview where it's like same but different. They're like very similar stylistically, physically, location, everything. They're very similar, but they're different. They're still different people. I believe Ty's a little bit taller. Tafa's a little bit shorter, I believe. Didn't really look into that, but they're very similar. So be kind of know what we're expecting here. Kind of goes to the next thing. It would kill the hype. Basically, there would be no hype around this fight, essentially. Because we're going to know it's going to be two fat dudes scrapping with a first round knockout, basically, or second round knockout, assuming they even make it there. And then friendly fire's been enabled. I've heard they're buddies, and I don't want like a Volkov Pavlovich situation, obviously, given what happened with that. So we don't pick this fight, but it's possible, be a good scrap. Yuri versus DDP. We'll get into the bad connotation. So this isn't good right now. They're both unorthodox strikers who have knockout power and underrated grappling. DDP, I think, is the edge of the grappling here. Absolute physical specimens, man. Yuri's like, 6'3", 208, and DDP's 6'2", 6'1". Yeah, 6'1", I think. Right around 6'1", 6'2". You're supposed to be 6'4". Apparently, they've shrunk his height a little bit. DDP's big dude, 214? He's bigger than you, I know, as a matter of fact. He cuts more than you, which is crazy, given he's a weight class below. This would be total war, though, regardless of how much they weigh, or how they look, or physical specimens, obviously. Be total war, good scrap, unorthodox style, throwing hands, throwing hooks, trying to catch each other in the chin would definitely be a finish and a bonus worthy, making him 100K easily. And bonus, the cons, basically Alex needs to lose his belt or go up to heavyweight somehow. I lose his belt, think of the worst attractive people. Basically assuming DDP goes up to 205 and strangles Alex, and Yuri gets a title shot because he's beating everybody up like a Brandon Royval light heavyweight, basically. Honestly, I still give it 60-40 Yuri purely because I think Yuri will be able to knock him out on the feet because he does gas and he keeps his mouth open. But then again, DDP's plot armor is just insane, and I think you find a way to bring it to the ground, which could end up potentially, either winning in the fight, but also making it boring. I think he get a submission somehow. But I still have it 60-40 Yuri, purely based off of I think Yuri has more power, and I don't think DDP will be able to crack his chin. But who knows, especially that weight. Middleweight back to DDP's division. Paulo Costa against Michael Venom Page would be very interesting. Both of them are good strikers who look to entertain and have a good scrap. Will definitely get another bonus. Good establishing fight for MVP in his move to 185. If he stays there, he's a guy that's has a resume, has some names, solid. Not like it's very winnable for him, but it's not like he's an actual threat of like brutally losing. It gives Paulo Costa a chance to beat somebody who is somewhat relevant. I mean, his last one is Luke Rockhold. He's ranked off Luke Rockhold right now, who is retired and fighting in the GFL, or was retired and now fighting in the GFL, retiring at the time of the fight. Striker versus striker matchup could cancel out and create a boring counter striker matchup. That would suck. But I don't know. I think Costa's going to be more aggressive, going to go on the feet, more like the prime Costa, and air quotes there, because he's still pretty young, I'm pretty sure. He's basically banking on MVP beating Shar, which I think he will. We still say at the end of the day, he could lose to Shar, and it could ruin the special matchup. And we don't know if MVP's move up to 185 is permanent. My friend Piotr Yonsny, PYK on Instagram, as we call him, is basically saying that MVP's move is basically just going to a temporary thing. He's going to go back to 70, but I don't think a lot of winnable fight to 70. We were talking about the other day. We think MVP could honestly beat up to Marvin Vettori and get rank 7 in middleweight if he stays in this middleweight path, which is a title range potentially, depending on how many title defenses DDP gets, or if we get a new champion and Izzy retires or moves or rankings, all that stuff could shift around potentially. But MVP might retire before Izzy because he's older. Let's keep that in mind too. Of the cut, MVP's old. I don't think MVP wants to be cutting to 170 as he gets older. Welterweight, Donald Cerrone against RDA 3. Both are old dudes with solid striking. Definitely 50-50 fight, which in this case is good. A third fight with some legacy names would be a good thing for the fans. Also a fight that's winnable for both these guys. We want to see them win or end on a win or something. Be around it. The only issue, though, one of them has to lose, and I don't think it's going to be a pretty loss for either of them, whoever the loser is. Now, my question is this even like a UFC caliber fight? Where does this belong? This doesn't even belong in the Apex. Partially because they're legends, because the quality's going to be so the legends really. But it doesn't really belong on the prelims because they're legends. They're these Hall of Famers. They, in Tony's case, a Hall of Famer, already a future Hall of Famer. They have to be on some sort of higher prelim spot or main card featured prelim, but that's not worthy quality-wise of featured prelim. It's in this weird double bind where it's like, where do you put it? Where does it belong? It's not even like a fight night main event worthy or like a fight night co-main worthy. It'd probably end up being just a forced pay-per-view main card spot. And then RDA is probably just going to retire because he tore his ACL at 40, which is going to be a tough injury to recover from. I don't think we'll be seeing him again personally, but if we do, this is the fight to make for him. And Cerrone's going to be coming back soon, apparently middleweight, but I'm just going to say for welterweight tentatively because he's looking at either. He doesn't want to cut the weight. He basically said it because he's too old, but he'd be open to going back to 170 if he could. He wants to fight. It doesn't really matter where. Lightweight, I have Josh Emmett against Michael Chandler. This is a very interesting one. Both are solid strikers and former wrestlers who don't really wrestle in the octagon, so it'd be interesting. I can't really say the word on YouTube, but it's the Battle of Short Bus Strength. Let's put it that way. That's from my boy Diego Lopez. DLE. This would be a banger if everything goes according to plan. If they have the way I want them to fight, scrap it out, mix in some failed takedowns, mix in some knees, mix in some elbows and stuff. Mostly scrap it out with the hands and the boxing. Maybe they gas out in round 2 and just start having a bar brawl, just head down, scrapping. The cons though could further dig the hole that Chandler's in because he's not really winning fights and he's getting finished, but he's facing high level comp. It kind of digs him in this hole where it's like you're facing high level comp, so we give him something super low. But even then, I don't know if he has the IQ to beat somebody who's super low level comp. Doesn't really advance Emmett further for title hopes at 145 because Chandler's not really a great win. It kind of keeps their log jams going where Emmett never gets to fight up and Chandler has bad IQ, so he has to fight good opponents because of his pedigree, but he's not smart enough to beat them and just gets finished. It kind of reinforces this log jam on both ends, regardless of who loses or who wins. So, yeah, featherweight, we have Bryce Mitchell against Jim Miller. This is a very interesting one. They're both great jiu-jitsu guys. It'd be an interesting matchup stylistically. Great prelim option, I think. Sounds like a great prelim fight for me. Maybe even a featured prelim or maybe even a main card spot. Potentially grappler versus grappler matchup. In this case, might cancel out and create some striking. Jim Miller's got some knockouts recently, getting some finishes on the feet. That'd be pretty cool. It's going to be a very friendly role. I feel like they don't have much beef. I'm wrestling to beef about it. I feel like they wouldn't have much tension. It would be very friendly. I put Royal, I think they're going to do a lot of jiu-jitsu, but it could be a friendly sparring match in terms of the MMA component. And that could be a boring jiu-jitsu fest, a little entertainment for the casual fan and for me personally. I mean, when I want to watch jiu-jitsu, I go watch jiu-jitsu. You know how it goes. Going down a weight class at Miller's age, even though he's the ageless sensation, can't really be good for your chin or your long-term health. But I think he would do it if the price was right. He was willing to fight Brock Lesnar. So what is Bryce Mitchell to Brock Lesnar? You know what I mean? No offense, Bryce Mitchell. I'm a big fan anyways. Bantamweight, Merab against Pantoja. I know it's a super high profile. Let's get into it. Pantoja's a well-rounded guy with a great chin, and he's got great scrambling, and that could also be the decider to beat Merab. Let's see if he could scramble his way to 3-round victories, or victories in 3 rounds, and maybe squeak a 3-2 by Merab. Get a taste of his own medicine there. Merab's got good wrestling and amazing cardio, so that's interesting there to counter Pantoja's scrambling ability potentially. Both defending champions with a good resume, so that would be pretty cool to see kind of this high caliber double champ status basically in terms of resumes, maybe not in terms of popularity and the money, which probably won't happen. I think Pantoja's already turned down this offer, said he wants to stay at 125 and title defense match. It's fair enough given Demetrius Johnson is a competition. So Pantoja could be our first champ at the 2020s. I know Alex Perez think our first 2-division champ at 2020s. Maybe 29. No, whatever. Recent memory. But that wasn't simultaneous, like a McGregor champ or a DC champ, and this would likely halt Piotr Jan's rematch in the context of Merab might beat Pantoja at 35 and then go down to 25, fight him because he said to be open to do that instead of taking Ilia Topuria's belt. Then potentially Pantoja might beat Merab and be able to fight like O'Malley or Umar, and then get new title shots with a fresh champion, and Piotr Jan might not be able to get his title shot or his deserved rematch, which would be a title shot in this case. So, yeah, that would be pretty tricky. And if Merab basically wins the 2 bouts, he'd likely go on a long hiatus, and then some interim champ might be created. Piotr Jan might not be even considered in the interim champ conversation because they might use a way to force O'Malley into a belt potentially again because they need to get him back to the belt. The UFC wants to do it for the money. And then flyweight, I did Kyle Sakura against Joshua Van, back to more of a low-profile matchup. Both are good strikers who want to go for the finish, would be very entertaining. The clash of this aggressive, explosive style from Sakura with these flying knees and all this wild stuff he pulls, whereas Joshua Van is more of kind of a traditional, he's a little aggressive himself, more of a traditional cardio kickboxing combos. Just sounds like an awesome clash. A lot of exchanges here and there, like pop, 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 pop type of exchanges, you know what I mean? Honestly, it's a good litmus test for both. It could prove that Joshua fight a guy that fought for a title and actually win, or could also prove that Kyle Sakura can destroy unranked talent pretty easily. He deserves to be among the flyweight high rankings. You know how it goes. This would be a hard fall off for Asakura matchup wise. Ganesh fought for a title, and if he loses, he's kind of cooked in this one. I don't think he'll ever fight for a title again if he loses to a guy who's a fringe ranking spot. I think it should be a 5-rounder just to show how good Van's cardio is, potentially showcase that Asakura can actually handle the championship 5-round fights, but it'll likely end up being 3 rounds because they don't really do a lot of these. I mean, they do kind of. I don't know. I think it would likely end up being 3 rounds, just given the profiles of these guys and how it goes. It also give kind of a lean, in my opinion, to Asakura because he's more of an explosive, quick finish guy, whereas Joshua Van likes to develop his game with his cardio. But be interesting to see. And yeah, thanks for watching, and God bless.